Hey guys, this is a Patreon Q&A, and if you've ever had a question that you wanted to ask me, just simply check out the link in the description and you can sign up for next week's Q&A video. Thanks. Natedawg asks, so do you think Blast could take our Garou the way he is now? I've always expected him to be the one who maybe is able to push Saitama, but I don't think he could any. If he can take out Garou, surely Awakened Garou could slap him. Blast couldn't capture Elder Centipede alive, and Garou is probably going to beat the bigger threat. So Natedawg, I understand why you have that narrative around Blast and Elder Centipede, but honestly, I don't really think that is applicable to the situation simply because we don't really know anything about it. We just heard what we heard from the bearded worker and that was it. We don't know the full context and all the variables. And you could make the same argument for Saitama being unable to kill Evil Natural Water in the previous chapter. There was definitely a special circumstance as to why Elder Centipede was able to escape Blast. I'm sure God had something to do with it. Obviously, we saw many implications of the power of Blast, and I'm pretty sure if he really wanted to, he could have low-diffed Elder Centipede probably, right? But as for him taking down current Garou, which I don't know what the fan term is, pre-awoken, I don't know. The fandom seems to be turning on Garou after the previous chapter anyway, but I'm pretty sure Blast could take the Garou that we see now, you know, since his performance against Flashy Flash and Platinum S, and we saw that Blast straight up defeated Flashy Flash via fear, which is, you know, one of the greatest feats that you can achieve in any battle manga, I guess. And that obviously did not happen in the triple threat match that we just saw. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that Garou could defeat Flashy Flash at this point. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all are in agreement with that, or at least most of us. Blast, on the other hand, would probably make quick work of the current Garou, I guess. Maybe he wouldn't defeat him via fear. I mean, it would really take a lot to push Garou to that breaking point. I mean, not even King could. He's one of the few people who actually willingly wanted to engage King. So the closest I think to Garou being defeated via fear is like when we saw him go against Watchdog Man, where you simply just establish that you are so much further ahead than him that he has no choice but to just walk away with his life. Now, Awakened Garou, on the other hand, that's a whole different story, and I'm assuming that he is going to be straight up God level. And I don't really care if the box says that he's going to be disaster level God or not. Probably won't, because you know the age-old fandom narrative that one doesn't want to reveal disaster level God officially until probably we see God resurrected to Earth, I guess, which is fine. You know, disaster level God is a big deal, at least in the hardcore fandom. Like, I made tons of videos about it, but it's hardly ever really mentioned in the series. Like, I personally would love it if we got like an official designation box saying that Garou is disaster level God. I don't think that would spoil it for the future, because obviously all the disaster levels are not created equal. And I think that would be cool to set the future stage for, oh my god, not all of the disaster level gods are created equal. Like, we saw that Garou was disaster level God, but this guy later on, Drive Knight, maybe Phoenix Man, is even stronger than him. And then of course God himself will be the highest ranking individual who receives a disaster level within this series. So that being said, could Blast defeat Awakened Garou? And I think they would probably have a competitive fight at this point. Granted, we're only going off of what ifs. We don't really know all of Blast's abilities yet. We don't know the full extent of his power. And the same goes for Garou. We haven't even seen him awaken in the manga yet. So just taking a guess, I think they would have a pretty competitive fight. Because at that point, I assume that Awakened Garou has to be one of the strongest monsters to ever exist within the One Punch Man world. Like, I'm sure he's going to be even stronger than the Ninja Village leader, who is implied to have tested Blast, because I'm assuming that he gave Blast the cuts in his armor. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, I'm just assuming. Daren asks, of the people who know of Saitama's strength, rank their respect of his power. So there's so many characters that know of Saitama's true strength. I don't want to really rank them all, but I'll just give you the top 3. Dr. Genus is number 1. He for sure understands that Saitama is the one above all, maybe more so than pretty much any other character currently in the series. Number 2 is King, of course. And then number 3, I would say Genos, but even then he still has delusions of other people possibly even challenging him. So, yeah. MajinBoros asks, if Shibawa's prophecies are 100% accurate, does that mean that there's going to be a possible unexpected twist ending where God gets what he wants, takes over the earth? So, no, there's not going to be like a twist ending where God wins or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure that Shibawa's prophecy does not take into account Saitama at all. The Esper abilities, the supernatural stuff that's going on in this world, no one can really see him in that light or using abilities like that. Another reason why he was able to just punch through that Esper meeting ground place, because the rules don't really apply to Saitama in that sense. So Saitama can see that statistically it is likely that God will get what he wants, because if Saitama didn't exist, then there would be no one that could stop him. But Saitama is an anomaly, and him existing is even going to be a surprise to God. Ferdz asks, who do you think is the better character and why, the UA trader Aoyama or the Hero Association trader Drive Knight? So Drive Knight easily. I'm of course a fan of Aoyama, but I just don't really care that he was the traitor all that much. I mean, it was cool, and the twist was definitely earned and makes complete sense, but after it was revealed, I kind of just wasn't as excited about it as I thought I was going to be, and the reception that most of the cast gave him was kind of underwhelming as well. It's like, it's okay, buddy, just try to be better next time. The only people that really gave a satisfying response to it was Nezu and Tsukauchi, but that's only because they were mad that their inside man got caught due to incompetence. Yes, they are both traitors in my opinion. Drive Knight, on the other hand, is such a cool character, and by the time the full story is wrapped up, he may go down as one of the greatest battle manga villains of all time, because not only has he tricked and convinced the characters within the actual story, but he's also convinced and tricked a large part of the audience, surprisingly, because believe it or not, there's still a lot of people that think that Metal Knight is actually the traitor and Drive Knight is a good guy. Asuka0206 asks, do you have any predictions for the very end of One Punch Man? Some will say Saitama will get his hair back, some will say God will challenge him, so I don't think either are going to happen. Saitama losing his hair is super integral to who he is as a character, and him getting his hair back isn't necessary or even going to be a part of his arc, in my opinion. And God will not really challenge him in the way that you all want him to. God will technically defeat Saitama at a certain point in the series using cunning and trickery with the assistance of Drive Knight and Psychos. But when it ultimately comes down to God having to fight Saitama mano a mano, he will for sure be defeated by one punch, and he will not test Saitama at all in that realm. I can assure you of that. Delamante asks, what is solo leveling and why all the hype? So I'm assuming that you didn't read any kind of synopsis on it, so I won't either, but I did read the opening chapter a couple years ago, when it was first gaining some traction, and I'll say the hype is that it's a well-designed series. The art is very good. It's also colored, so that really helps, and it's manhwa, so it has that novelty to it, but it's kind of just like a straightforward, battle manga, kind of like One Punch Man in a way. It also has an interesting power system to it, and it's just overall a really solid series. I'm personally going to wait for the anime before I deep dive into it, but if you want to check out the manhwa, I suggest it to everyone. So Misael asked a lot of questions here. How many chapters do you think before we get to Saitama versus Garou? The manga's continuity right now is very difficult to predict because it's strayed so much away from the original webcomics continuity, of course. So Saitama versus Garou could happen in the next chapter, or it could happen in the next 5 chapters. It ultimately depends on how long the beatdown that Awakened Garou is going to give to the rest of the S-Class heroes. Pig God's ultimate move, I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'll have to make another video about it. Is Orochi really dead? Technically, but no, he's going to come back later once Drive Knight resurrects him. Where is Psychos? She's still there. She's going to fight Fubuki pretty soon. Maybe that fight will go on at the same time Garou fights Saitama. Sean H asks, who do you want to see next in Record of Ragnarok? Good question, and I really want to see Nostradamus. I've always kind of wanted to see him even before we got the boy toy reveal, but I'm pretty sure he's going to fight next. Something is going to happen at the end of Hades versus Chin, and it's going to inspire or maybe even force Nostradamus to fight in the next round. Green Above All asks, what do you think is going to happen with the original chapters before the redraws? Because honestly, what a shame. I thought Child Emperor versus Phoenix Man was a perfect way. It was. So there will always be available. I mean, they're on the Tona Renoi website, I'm pretty sure, in their own little special section. But Brilliant Eagle Phoenix Man is not gone. I promise you, he is coming back in the latter portion of the series for sure. He is super important to the overall plot, and he will be an integral disciple of God. Joseph B asks, what is the official canon colors of Awoken Garou? The colored panel with the 3 fight in the background hinted at it being purple, so I didn't see purple. It looks red to me, and I'm pretty sure that's where all of the color artists got idea for his aura being red, I guess. Red and black is a pretty aesthetic pairing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what one ultimately chooses, or maybe he even left it up to Murata for the color scheme. But we ultimately will not know the canon colors of anything until it appears in a volume. Same thing goes for Blast. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 volumes, we'll get to see what these canon colors are. From what we've seen about Blast and his relationship with God, do you think he has the same energy projection powers as Homeless Emperor, along with numerous other powers too? I don't think he has a 1-for-1 same set of powers as Homeless Emperor, but I do think Blast, along with his Green Lantern Corps, have somehow reverse engineered God's powers, or the powers that God has. Inherently he is an Esper the way that Tatsumaki and Fubuki are, but the black hole stuff somehow reverse engineered from what God is doing. Little Ferrari asks, how far do you think we are from Saitama versus Garou? So I talked about this earlier, but it could be the next chapter for all we know. Like I said, it's so hard to predict what's going to happen because one has been interestingly expanding the story, and I'm not really mad at the pacing. I think a lot of this stuff needs to be expanded, and I'm personally enjoying it. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority, but I really enjoy long series. That's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I want to thank all of my patrons for continuing to support me. I know I haven't been consistent with these guys, but I'm trying to get back on track now. As you can see, I've been moving, and it's been unexpectedly stressful, but I'm getting through it. And I would like to make the Patreon Q&A even better than it was originally, even if it was good at all. But if you like the video, just please subscribe and check out the link in the description for the Patreon. Thanks, guys.